So let's discuss the Common Language Runtime. So CLR, it is a major component of the .NET framework, which is also called as brain of the .NET framework. And CLR, it stands for Common Language Runtime, which managed to code execution through JIT compiler. It also performs some other tasks like memory management, debugging, garbage collection, thread support, exception handling, and code access security. So these are the major features of CLR and duties. So the CLR is not one component. It is an environment. It is a runtime environment. So any application which is developed under the .NET framework needs some kind of environment to run that application in any operating system. So similarly, we can take the examples of human beings. So to live, humans need 4 essential elements like air for breathing, water for hydration, food grown on earth for nourishment, and a healthy environment to ensure safety and well-being. So these 4 essential elements are required for humans to live and grow. So similarly, CLR is an environment and not one component. So let's check the components of the CLR. So the first component is class loader. So the next is MSIL to native compiler. So as we already discussed, MSIL is the Microsoft Intermediate Language. So the CLR will convert this MSIL to the native code with the help of JIT compiler. So the next one is code manager. The next component is garbage collector. So the garbage collector is responsible for to free the memory of the objects from the heap. Those are no longer in use. So the next one is security engine, debug engine, type checker, execution manager, thread support, COM marshaller, and class library support. So we can check each component in detail. So the first component is class loader, which manages metadata in addition to the loading and layout of the classes. So the next is MSIL to native compiler. So as we have already discussed, whenever any code from any programming language when gets compiled, then it gets converted into the MSIL, that is nothing but the Microsoft Intermediate Language. Then after that, CLR comes into the picture. So CLR will convert the MSIL into the native code with the help of just-in-time compiler. So the next component is code manager, which manages the code execution. Then the next component is garbage collector. This is the main component or main task performed by the CLR. So it provides the automation lifetime management of all of your objects. This is multiprocessor scalable garbage collector. So the next is security engine, which provides evidence-based security that is based on the origin of the code and the user. So the next is debug engine component, which allow you to debug your application and trace the execution of code. So developer can use this engine to find out the bugs from their code. So the next is type checker. So the type checker will not allow unsafe cast or uninitialized variables. MSIL can be verified to guarantee type safety. So the next is exception manager. As we are aware, there are compile time exceptions and runtime exceptions, which can be handled by also a CLR. So it provides the structured exception handling, which is integrated with Microsoft Windows Structured Exception Handling, which is also called as ACH. So the next task is thread support. As .NET framework or .NET compatible language supports multi-threading, so it provides the classes and interfaces that enable multi-threaded programming. So the next one is COM marshaller, which is responsible for marshalling to and from COM objects. So the next component is .NET framework classes. So these are the inbuilt classes which can be used while development. And these are the inbuilt classes which was provided by the .NET framework. So the next one is library support, that is class library. So let's check the task performed by the CLR. So the first task is code execution. It provides an environment to run all the .NET programs. The code which runs under the CLR, it is also called as managed code. Managed code is a code whose execution is managed by Common Language Runtime. It gets the managed code and compilers it into a machine code. After that, the code is executed. The runtime here, that is CLR, provides automatic memory management, type safety, etc. Applications that are not under control of the CLR are also called as unmanaged code. The next task is memory management. CLR take care of allocation and releases to memory of object in heap, not in stack. But how? There is a GC component which plays a main role for this functionality. So the next task is code access security. This is a core feature of CLR. Security means preventing code execution from unauthorized access or providing security to assets from unauthorized actions through permissions by putting over code execution. Next task is debugging. This is a major feature of CLR which we use daily in our code development for testing, bug fixing, and while executing code over our local workstation. The next task is thread support. As we are aware, many programming languages support multi-threading. So thread support is also done by CLR. So the CLR provides functionality to handle the threading and multi-threading functionality for code in application. CLR thread pool determines when threads are to be added or taken away. Thread pool is just a collection of threads and thread is a path of execution. So the next task is exception handling. So as we are aware, there are compile time and runtime exceptions. Those can be handled by CLR. An exception is the signal raised when a condition is detected that was not expected in a normal execution of the program. The CLR execution engine can raise exceptions and unmanaged code can raise the exceptions as well.